How you doing, man? This is Jason Bourne here with the Hype Magazine, and we have the esteemed brother himself, Mr. Shawn Prez. Thank you for your time this evening.
Thanks for having me.
No, we appreciate you. So, we're 6 years in, the Global Spin Awards.
Yeah.
How does it feel? Before we get into the semantics, how does it feel? 6 years
6 years. How's it feel at this moment? It feels stressful.
at this exact moment.
It feels stressful.
A lot of stress. The hard work that people don't understand.
Oh yeah, because to me, I breathe the day after the event. But we put so many months in planning for this event, and every year we're challenged with taking it one step higher. So I have so much weight on me to make this bigger and better than ever. Right now, if you ask me how I feel, 6 years in is great, but I'm stressed.
All right, understandable. Take us back a little bit to the actual moment or moments when you had the idea. What was sort of the motivation to create this platform?
You know, there was a void in the marketplace. I always loved the art of DJing. A big part of my career was breaking records, and we always started the records with the DJ. And I saw that the DJs were so overlooked, but they were immensely valuable to the process of breaking so many of the artists. So, you know, just really seeing this void in the marketplace and having such a love for the DJs who break this music, you know, we thought that this was a home run idea, and thank God, 6 years later, we're still doing it, and it's getting bigger and better.
In the groundbreaking stages, how easy was it to pitch this idea to some of your colleagues in the industry?
You know, when you have any idea, and I would tell this to any entrepreneur, you have to trust what's in here. When we originally pitched this idea, it was 50-50. It was lukewarm. Nobody ever sees the vision 100%. You know, it's on you to believe and trust your gut and trust your heart on any idea that you have. So whereas a lot of people told us, yo, that'd be dope, this, that, and that, we had just as many people saying, well, there's a reason that the DJs are not honored. You know, at that time, 6 years ago, the surge of the DJ becoming the megastars that they have become, 6 years ago, it wasn't there at all. A lot of these guys were nameless and faceless, you know, or you knew their name because you listened to them on radio or heard their mixtapes or their mixes, but you didn't necessarily have a face to put with that.
How important was it to have such a comprehensive approach? You guys have categories for everything, and you're transcending genres. How important was that for you?
It's very important. Number one, we strive to be the Grammys or the Academy Awards. We want to be the biggest and the most credible award ceremony for the DJ. So if you're going to do that, you have to take a moment out and really understand the culture and understand that all DJs are not created equal, meaning some of the biggest DJs in the world might be great in the clubs, but they can't do a radio mix. Some of the great guys that you hear on the radio are great on radio, but they can't do a mixtape. Some guys are great at mixtapes, but they can't do the blends like some of the like the Ted Smooths of the world that, you know, he's amazing at doing blends. So we really had to bring in a team, which we have, and it took us months. Actually, if you go back to year number one, so many of our categories, they've switched, you know, because as we were breaking down these categories, we had the DJs themselves hitting us. Y'all need to have this category. Y'all need to add that. And then, you know, not to be too long-winded, but you got your urban DJs, you got your open format DJs, you have your EDM DJs, all do very different things, but very different crowds. So,
How was the reception from the DJs along the way as you saw them becoming more involved to the point where now, as you said, they're hitting you and saying, hey, I think you guys should have, you know, this category or things of that nature?
the DJs, I have to say this because it's so true. The DJs are what carried this from day one. From day one, we had some of the biggest DJs in the world in the building. Nobody else showed, but the DJ showed. And the way we did it, the Global Spin Awards, it is the Grammys, it is the Oscars. We pay homage to the legends, but we also have in the building some of the new jacks who are doing their thing in modern times. So the DJs from day one have been the one who have shouldered this and said, this is our Grammys. So, I don't care if it is, Grandmaster Flash, who was one of our first honorees, DJ Red Alert, in the building, and we would also have the DJ Dramas of the Clues, or the Funk Flexes of the world that was in the building. They all showed up, and that's what gave us the credibility to do year number 2, and it got bigger and bigger and bigger.
What are some of the highlights for you over the years of those moments? You've mentioned some legendary individuals and kind of bridging, the newer guys with the legends and being a vehicle for that homage to still be paid. Like you said, the dramas of today, the Grandmaster Flashes of before, the Kid Capris, the Funk Flexes. How does that feel for you?
For one, it's amazing. Let's start there. It's amazing. But what I think is truly amazing is we did the groundwork long before we ever did. It's not like we thought of the Global Spin Awards and 2 months later we were able to produce this show. We thought of the concept, and it took us maybe a year and a half to really flesh it out and understand, what does a DJ award show even look like? How is it going to be different from the MTV Awards or the BET Awards, so forth and so on. So there have been so many highlight moments for me, but I think if I had to put them in a quick order of 3, number 1, and it continues to be a highlight moment for me, is when DJs get this award, when they get it, this is their Grammy. They literally go and cry from the highest building, top of the mountains, and I won. And it's literally with so much emotion. And when they come up and they give their speeches, some of them have tears in their eye because they're being acknowledged. Number 2, for me, would be one of my vision has always been these DJs should be honored by the people who they affect most, which is everyone, the artists, the consumer. So for me to over the years see people like Kendrick Lamar show up to the show to give back, Dave Chappelle, who's such a big fan of the DJ community, come out. T.I. hosted last year, Lala Anthony, Swiss Beats, so forth, Sway, Calloway, who was our very first host, shout out to him. It for me is such a great moment because that's always been the vision is we like these guys are breaking your records. You need to come back and give them their just due for one night.
Speaking of the just due, and to piggyback, I recently saw Jermaine Dupri, who's one of the honorees for this year, speak to how important it was for him, the validation of being awarded amongst a group of individuals who he looked up to. The individuals who came before him, you know what I mean? And just to be amongst his peers. And, I also respect that you guys are tying in, like, of course, Timbaland is an honoree for this year. The DJ and the producer, which I think is very vital for people to understand that some of the greatest producers started out as DJs. So can you speak to that for us?
We're now in year 6, right? Every year we honor at the bare least 2 individuals. So as this show continues to evolve, we've been able to honor, so many amazing people who are still active today, whether it is, like I said, Grandmaster Flash, Cool DJ Red Alert, Premiers, Clark Kent, Spinderella, just so forth and so on. So now we're coming into an era of it's not just about the forefathers. We're coming into now the 90s, and so many of the DJs in the 90s have gone on to do these amazing things outside of the turntables, whether it is the DJ Khaleds of the world. So it only made sense for us to look and say, DJ has always been the basis for so many of the producers, let's look at DJs who transcended the turntables this year and give them their just due. And it was an obvious approach for us, which was Jermaine Dupri and Timbaland. And it's so wonderful because Jermaine Dupri comes to the show every year. So this DJing thing is really in his heart. And Timbaland has absolutely been to the show multiple times. And for them, when we made the call and said, we want to honor you this year, they were very familiar and very willing to be honored at these awards. So.
Can you speak to us about the significance of it being in L.A. this year? Because you traveled. I'm a little mad that it's not in New York, but we still love what you're doing. But speak about the significance of it being in L.A. and why that move was made this year in particular.
It's one of those moments for us where whenever you're creating whatever it might be, you have these milestone moments. For us, if you notice, I always say we model ourselves after some of the biggest award shows out there. If you look at any of the amazing award shows, that they all somehow end up in LA if they don't start there. So us wanting and striving to be the Grammys or the Academy Awards for the DJs, there's a major significance about. We started here in New York. We did 4 years here in New York. So many people were saying, hey, you guys are doing it in New York. I'm not able to make it. Last year we took it to the South, and we were able to expose it to so many of the DJs who never made it to New York. Now to be able to have the credibility and have the fan base and have people who follow what we're doing and love what we're doing to take it and present it in L.A., where so many other the other amazing award shows are being held. For us, it's a pat on the back moment. It is like we really arrived, and the show that we have planned for this year is going to be insane.
Speaking of transcending outside of the DJ, how different for you is this experience in comparison to your success with Power Moves Inc.?
So many people. And this is a whole nother conversation, but I come up under a guy who has reinvented himself 100 times, which is Sean Combs. Started with him with the early days of Bad Boy. So a lot of people now look at me, Shawn Prez, as the creator and the founder of the Global Spin Awards. They forget the success that I had with and continue to have with my company Power Moves Inc., which is an amazing marketing agency that has marketed for so many Fortune 500 businesses. But even before that, I was known as the executive over at Bad Boy Records for so many years. So for me, it's always interesting because I'm driven daily to outdo what I did yesterday. So I don't really ever think about reinvent myself, not in those terms. But it's funny because so many people who meet me might, oh, you're the Global Spin guy, but people who've been knowing me for years will be, oh, you're the Power Move guy, or yo, Shawn Prez is Mr. Bad Boy himself. So it's just funny. But for me, I'm just driven by the challenge. So tomorrow I might be known as something completely different.
But it all equal up to success?
I mean, but what's success? What people don't tell you is a hell of a lot of failures. And something, I'm not mad at the failures because you learn from all of them. I think what you should be mad at is not trying or being too scared to try.
I agree 100%. So make sure to give the people the date, the location, and where they can most importantly watch the event.
Okay, number one, date. Watch it. The date is February 22nd. February 22nd on Revolt TV. We're doing it in LA at the Omni Theater. Very, very excited for this year. You can visit us at globalspinawards.com or follow us daily at Global Spin Awards or at Global Spin 365.
We appreciate you, of course, tremendously. We will make sure all information is on the website so we can direct all our audience to you. And once again, we wish you the best. Year number 6 On to year 60, my brother. We thank you.
Please, and thank you guys at Hype Magazine for having us. I appreciate. I don't take you guys taking the time out for granted. I appreciate you, and please, we would love to have you on the red carpet this year.
Thank you very much. You heard it here. Jason Bourne, the Hype Magazine, the esteemed Shawn Prez, Global Spin Awards, year number 6. Thank you.